Welcome back to the Real with Joseph Lamtman. I am Joseph Lamtman. Happy Tuesday to you guys. Hope you guys are having a good start to your week. Welcome on into Browns Therapy Tuesday here on the Real. Welcome back in. Before I get into today's show, please hit the like, subscribe, and share button for me. I really appreciate that, especially the like button. Help me fight the algorithms here on YouTube and help promote my channel more. I would really appreciate that. Um, so for today's show, we got a lot we talked about. Now this is a I had to re-record this beginning here because my dad and Mike Antonace joined me a little earlier today, and we gave our take on the game. We reacted to the game. My audio was messed up in that for some reason. I don't know why. I fixed it now, whatever it was. This is gonna be clipped out at the beginning. My take on the game last night to kick off our conversation that I had with my father and Schnooks and Mike Antonace about the game, what we see from the Browns, and what's going on right now. And so this is going to clip out after I get done with my opening take here. And so bear with me in the audio. I apologize for that. It was just don't know what happened. Just a technical error that occurred today. But the conversation was still really good. Those two came on and gave their points, and we had a great conversation. So when that comes on for the rest of the show, please bear with the audio. You have to kind of listen to me a little closer. It's a little muffled, so I apologize for that. But those two still came on, and we had a great conversation. So I want to keep that in there. But I definitely want to come on though and re-record my opening because you couldn't really hear it. Number one, but also to clarify my take, what my take was that kicked off our conversation. What last night said to me, and first off with last night, thoughts and prayers to Nick Chubb. Obviously, that was not something you ever want to see anywhere on a football field in a game, especially of all the people too. Nick Chubb, man, he's just a great athlete, just a great citizen, just like a model citizen. Nick Chubb is a model athlete. You know what I mean? Just like a guy that if you had a kid, that's who you'd say, watch Nick Chubb, watch how he plays ball, son. Watch how he conducts himself after a score, and this kind of the teammate he is, how hard he works. Look how his teammates reacted last night. It says all. That's all you need to know. It says everything you know about Nick Chubb. And I'm really unfortunate to see that. I heard a doctor today on Coach JB's show. Shout out to Coach JB. This morning, him and Darnell's show, where the doctor said that he's a sports doctor. He said, that kind of injury, it looks like probably a 15-month process. So that's almost 2 full seasons he's going to have to recover from. And Nick's 27 years old, and man, once you get to about 28, 29 years old as a football player, your body starts to break down. Like I heard a former player today, Matt McChesney, on the same show. Matt played for 6 years on both sides of the ball, O-line, D-line. He's like, man, once I got to about 28, 29, like most guys, that's why as a football player, it's very important. Even if you made it to the NFL, you better have something to do when you're 27, 28 years old, because it's going to end. You just physically, it all ends at some point. The NFL stands for not for long for a reason. So you better have something else, another skill set in your life when you're done playing football, or have something, because it doesn't last forever. And not everybody's a superstar either. It's so, but Nick Chubb is a superstar running back, and might be the best running back in the league. And it was really unfortunate to see that last night. So it's gonna be hard to see. It's gonna be tough to see if he can come back from that. I wouldn't rule out or doubt Nick Chubb in anything, because he's just that kind of guy. He's just that hell of an athlete like that. His mentality is unbelievable. But he's had the same injury in college on the same knee. It's already been reconstructed already, and it's the same knee he hurt last night. And it's gonna be a challenge for him to come back from that. And if he does come back, is he gonna be the same guy? I don't know. I've known guys growing up, guys that I played with growing up. One of the best players probably the best player I played with and against, and guys that I've seen that you get those kind of, you see it in sports all the time. Guy, once you get that kind of injury like that, a hard injury like that, it's hard to come back and be the same guy. And that's why a lot of people are saying today, is Nick Chubb's career, can he come back and play again? You never know. It's unfortunate. It's very sad what happened last night. But thoughts, prayers, and Nick. And you know, if anybody can do it, it's Nick Chubb. I can tell you that, because you can just tell by his attitude, his demeanor, the kind of guy he is, and just teammate, and just we'll all be rooting for Nick. But my take on last night's game, though, is probably a lot different than what you heard today around the media. I know everybody's probably thinking, what was your take on Watson's performance last night? Now, Deshaun Watson's been a guy that, you know, I've been saying for a while, I think he could be a great quarterback again. I think he can get back to the elite level. Because I watched him in high school, I watched him in college, I watched him in Houston. He's always been a pretty damn good quarterback. I had this concern last year, and I think last night really exposed it. When Nick Chubb went out of the game, actually, don't forget that. At the start of the game, the first play of the game, they come out in an empty set, 10 personnel, and they throw a stick route to Harrison Bryant, the backup tight end. First play of the game. And we all saw the result of that. It was a pick six. And going back and watching, I'm looking at now. Here's my take. Right, number one, Watson played horrible last night. We all know that. I don't need to state the obvious. He played terrible, fumbling the ball everywhere. The face mask penalties was atrocious. Did not look poised at all. Just he looked very just unraveled and just he just looked very rattled and just very not poised, not an elite quarterback for sure. Not even they didn't play good last. He was just bad, very bad last night, and probably outside of maybe him and Peoples Jones, the worst player on offense, and Jed Wills too. I think those three really hurt us last night. And so, but it obviously starts with your quarterback and Deshaun for what they gave up to get him, the guy we expected to get. Did not play well at all. He was terrible. He did not play that good at all. Now they still had a chance to win at the end of the game, and he did make some plays here and there where he looked like his old self. But here's the problem I think that we have right now in Cleveland, which is why my thumbnail and why the down below in the ticker in the title it says offensive dysfunction, identity crisis. I don't think Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski can work long term. I don't. I don't think as of right now. It could change. I'm willing to get Kevin. If Kevin can change his offense, it could work. And what do I mean by that? I don't think Deshaun Watson's skill set fits what Kevin Stefanski's offense is. And Kevin Stefanski's offense, a system which he's ran it's the same system for 4 years. All offseason, all we heard was, oh, they got this new system coming in. They got this Elijah Moore packages. They got all this dynamic stuff. AVP and Kev and Deshaun, they're all collaborating together. Yeah, teamwork. It's going to be this dynamic offense. I haven't seen no dynamic offense in 2 games. I've seen the same stuff I saw when Baker Mayfield was a quarterback and when Jacoby Brissett was a quarterback. The same route concepts, the same running game, relying on the run game. Everything's the same. The tempo, the way they operate, nothing's changed. It looks the same. And it looked the same last year in the 6 games when Watson came back. I don't think Kevin Stefanski has done a good job helping out Deshaun Watson get back into the guy we need him to be. And there's nothing everybody today that's just giving Kevin Stefanski a pass. Again, if you don't like Deshaun Watson, any chance you get to go at him, that's you. And I'm not saying he played terrible. We all know that. He played like shit. He was horrible. He played terrible. But I don't think calling a 10 personnel stick route on the first play of the game, that's terrible. It's horrible. The play calling was atrocious all night, and they kept coming back. It's like JB said today on his show, and JB coached a long time. You want to argue with him? Go argue with him. Good luck, though. Probably knows more football than most of you. And he even said here, we all know Deshaun played like shit. But does your head coach, can he help out the quarterback at all? It's like at Ohio State right now. Kyle McCord, he's been kind of mid, as they say nowadays, mid. But last weekend with Ryan Day's great play calling, Kyle McCord looked pretty damn good because the play calling overcomes a lot. The head coach helped out the quarterback and put him in better positions to be successful around his skill set. This offense, and Joe Buck and Troy Aikman said it last night on the damn telecast in the middle of the game. Go back and watch. And they even said, Joe Buck's like, yeah, Deshaun was very successful in college and high school and the pros in a more of a spread offense. And, we asked him about playing in Stefanski's offense, and Watson told us that it is different. That's what Joe Buck and Troy Aikman said last night on the damn telecast. Go back and watch it. It doesn't fit. This offense does not fit with Watson. Watson does not fit with Stefanski's offense. Stefanski's offense is not evolved. I saw no deep posts last night, no curl routes, no mesh routes, nothing creative at all. They bring Marquise Goodwin in off the sideline when he's been sitting there for an hour, and it's so predictable. You know when he comes in the game, they're going to run a deep route. It's so predictable because they're using him as like a specialist right now. You just run fly routes. That's it, Marquise. And so every time he checked in the game, it was just for that. And Pittsburgh knew it was coming. They're like, okay, we know what this is. They're so predictable. The offense is so predictable. And you know what? Now that Nick Chubb's gone, Nick Chubb's out for the year, and Nick Chubb may not be coming back. Nick Chubb covered up a lot of mistakes. Nick Chubb made a lot of people look good. Nick Chubb was the identity of the offense and made everything go. Now that he's gone, let's see what Kevin Stefanski and Deshaun Watson together really have. Because I don't think it works. I really don't. And for a while I was kind of on the fence, like, why would Watson come here though if he didn't buy it? I think Watson looked at it from a football standpoint. I think he likes Kevin. I think he likes Alex Van Pelt. And obviously, I think you look at the talent around them. He saw Nick Chubb. He saw they had pieces to go. They just acquired Amari Cooper at that time. They had pieces on the whole team. It was kind of set up to go win now. And also, I think the $230 million guaranteed obviously probably played big piece of that because he's probably thinking I'm not getting any money off the field in endorsements. So I got to get all this money I can, and I think he just looked at the talent he had here and what he could do with it, and just the money. Which, okay, I get that from his point of view. I understand that because you're not getting any money off the field, so get all the money you can. From a business point, from his standpoint, that makes sense. And from a football standpoint, the Browns had all the pieces, but I haven't seen Stefanski evolve his offense around Watson. I just think it's almost like, Watson, you have to come in this offense and do you need to come run my offense. But the offense is very basic. It's not creative. It's not dynamic. It's not explosive. It doesn't fit his skill set. That's why, like, when Joe Buck said that and Troy Aikman last night on the screen, kind of said everything you need to know, to be honest with you. It said a lot. And it just doesn't. And I said this last year. And Watson's second game. You remember Watson's second game back last year after the Houston game? It was on the road at Cincinnati in that game where it was like, okay, can he come back in week 2 after dusting off the rust shaking off the rust from week 1? His first game back against it wasn't week 1, it was week 13 of that year, whatever it was. His second game back after the first game versus the Texans where he didn't play well, and he came back the next week and said, okay, here we go against Cincinnati. How are you going to play this week? And they lost that game. I remember in that game, in the first quarter, Watson completed like 3 passes in a row. He was getting back in rhythm, looked decent. And Stefanski pulled him out of the game and put Jacoby Brissett in under center to throw on a 4th and inches, to throw a ball that sailed right in the freaking first row of the end zone to a tight end. Remember, it was Pharaoh Brown he was throwing to. It's just stuff like that. It just doesn't. I don't think. Here's my whole take. If Deshaun Watson hasn't played in 2 years, how can we expect him to? Now, a lot of it's on him. He's a professional athlete, and he's getting paid all this money to perform at a high level. He's not doing that. But I don't know if they even realize it. And maybe they do. And maybe they're just trying to make it work. I don't know. I don't think what's helped Deshaun Watson his whole career, his skill set, what he's always thrived in, does not mesh well with Stefanski's system, what Kevin's always done, which is a run first identity. Nick Chubb was the identity of the team. Well, that's gone now, like I said. And I think last night, after that game, you saw a lot of panic on a lot of people's faces. You saw it on Kevin Stefanski's face, and you saw it on Deshaun Watson's face in particular, both of them. Because both of them, I think, realized that, oh shit, the identity's gone. Now we have to do it. We have to rely on what we have in our passing game, and their passing game is just not that good. It's not. the basic concepts that they run. And G. Bush said it. Shout out to Garrett Bush. Said it last night on the post-game show. He's like, man, I saw no deep post, no nothing. I saw no creativity, nothing. It's like JB said that. How do you got to help out your quarterback as a head coach, as a play caller. You can't just call. All these people today, they're online and on the media, and everybody's just saying it's all on Deshaun. And I know he played like shit, and it all depends on him. I get that, but I can't expect the guy to go out and execute a bad play call. And you saw it at the beginning of the game. You're slowly seeing those. If you really paid attention last night, because the camera was on Deshaun all night. After the first drive, after the pick six drive, the first play of the game, our first real drive, coming right out of that, it was a 3 and out, right? I believe it was a third. They ended up punting on that series. It was the beginning of the game, and they called a deep like developing post, like a deep developing route concept play. And Deshaun drops back, sits in the pocket, nothing's there. I think, and if he got sacked or he had to throw it away, it was like it's a waste of a play on a third down. Or it was a second. I think it was a second. It was beginning of the game. It was like a second or third down. And he immediately looked at the sideline. You read his lips. He's like, that's not, he was like this. Like, that ain't going to work. Like, and I just think you saw a lot of that last night. Coming into the fourth quarter, out of the timeout, out of the TV commercial, in the beginning of the fourth quarter, when they converted the third down, they lied to Elijah Moore, I think it was. Whatever that play was. Sorry, I can't remember exactly. But I remember they came out of the huddle on the sideline. And Elijah Moore, as soon as they got to the huddle, Elijah Moore looked at Deshaun Watson. He's like, you could tell, he pointed to himself. He said, just throw it to me. And Deshaun's like, I got you. To me, what that said to me was like, forget about what the concept is. I'm running over here. Just find me on the sideline. Like, listen, man, I don't think Deshaun Watson and Kevin Stefanski fit together. I don't think it's going to work long term. Unless Stefanski evolves his offensive to fit around Deshaun's skill set more. Yes, we know Deshaun has to play better. We get that. It's the repetitive talking point we heard all day today. And we know he played like crap last night. We get it. But all these people, let me ask something to all these people. Everybody that's online today is saying, Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback and Baker this, Baker that. Why do you think Baker Mayfield's playing better in a different system? Why did Baker Mayfield look good in Sean McVay's system? Or look better? Can you answer that question? How come Deshaun Watson looked better in Bill O'Brien's system? What would Deshaun Watson look like right now if he was in Andy Reid's system in Kansas City? Probably a lot better. And if you really know football, which a lot of people online today make all these comments really don't. They never played. They don't understand what really goes on. And that's not. There's no excuse for Deshaun Watson's play. He was bad. But I can't expect a guy to actually turn around and thrive like everybody's wanting him to and demanding him to when he's not in a situation really set up to help him do it. Because it doesn't fit. Stefanski's basic system, the run first, play action, all this stuff, the basic route concepts, and he kept calling 10 personnel after it didn't work all night. Against TJ Watt. We're going to let TJ Watt go against 10 personnel. The sack TJ Watt got to break the record was in that personnel. So, again, I'm not even talking about last night, to be honest with you. I'm looking at the long-term view of the Browns and where this could end up going this season potentially. I think we're going to see, if they don't turn this around quickly and Stefanski doesn't, and they have to get in the bye. They have to get to the bye. I think they got to be 2-2 at least. They got to win this week or they got to win next week. And if they lose one of them, if the Lions are 500 going to the bye and they can readjust at the bye, but they have to readjust in a big way offensively. They have to really open up this offense and become a lot more dynamic. But I just don't know if you can do that right now after you just went through training camp and your best player on offense just went down, your identity, your team. I just don't know if it's going to work. And again, I said this last year. I'm going to play the clip real quick. Here's a clip of me last year on December after the Cincinnati game of what I said about Kevin Stefanski. Problem. And going back to the coaching, this is why I say yesterday I have a different tone on the just not just the game itself, but the whole organization as a whole and what they need to do going forward. You can't expect one guy to just bail you out all the time, and he hasn't played in the 700 days because that's kind of the road they're starting to trend down, and that's not a road you want to go down. And so again, let's get back to Kevin Stefanski and why I'm saying now I think Kevin Stefanski is on the hot seat. It should be on the hot seat, right? Now, again, I've tried to get Kevin Stefanski so many passes. I like Kevin Stefanski in a lot of ways. I'm not saying he's a bad coach. I just don't know if he's. Sometimes you just question: is this guy? Does he show head coaching qualities a lot of times? Because offensively, I think he's a pretty good offensive coordinator for most. For the most part, he's good at calling some things consistently. Now, the only thing I would knock him down, he doesn't get the big playmakers at the ball. He doesn't get his big offensive playmakers the ball enough. And sometimes you're just kind of like, yeah, we know you got a nice system. You can call some nice plays here and there. And what I mean, he throws some nice games. He'll call some nice games, rather. You go back to when he was in Minnesota. He did a pretty nice job. He was solid. He's a solid play caller. But sometimes you just kind of wonder, does he make the team great? And I thought of something. I heard somebody say this earlier. If you put Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, any of these guys on our offense, they might just look like average players, not by their own doing. That was me last year in December saying that stuff. You notice what I said in the beginning, too? You can't rely on one guy to bail you out after he hasn't played football in 2 years. And what did I say in the beginning there? This is last year in December, people. What did I say? It's a bad trend to start going down that road. Well, guess what? They've been going down. They still are going down that road. And it's going to unravel real fast unless they turn it around. Because I'll tell you this. We know the Haslams. We know how the ownership. We've seen look at their past history, right? Let's go back to old Hugh Jackson, shall we? Well, Hugh Jackson. When did Hugh Jackson get fired that year? In 2018, he got fired in Week 8, halfway through the season, when they were 2-5-1. That was the end of October. Well, our Week 8 game is first week of November, like November 2nd or somewhere in there. First week of November, the first Sunday, we play the Arizona Cardinals. If the Cleveland Browns are a 2-3 win football team, which could happen if they keep this up, not because of defense either, by the way. The defense is pretty damn good. I like what Jim Schwartz is doing. I like how Jim Schwartz is not out there playing checkers. He's actually playing chess and coaching the right way and putting people in position to be successful, which we haven't seen here in a long time. So thank you, Jim. And shout out to the defense. If the Browns are a 2-3 win team, maybe in a 4-win team by Week 8, I would not be surprised, in my opinion, this is speculation, if they pull the trigger and fire Kevin Stefanski and make Jim Schwartz the interim head coach for the rest of the year and make Alex Van Pelt the OC. And then we'll see how Alex Van Pelt does as the OC. And if Jim Schwartz does well as the head coach for the rest of the year, then maybe they just hire him full time. And maybe that's why Jim Schwartz took the job. It happens all the time in sports. Coaches will take jobs assistant jobs to start off because they know if something happens, they're next in line. Just saying. And so, I'm not going to speculate on who an OC could be either if Jim Schwartz is head coach. We're talking way too far down the road. But Josh McDaniels. But again, this is my take on last night and my broader view of what really went on. And so everybody's saying today Deshaun needs to play better. Deshaun needs to play better. I agree. You're right. But I just don't. How can he play better in the way it's set up? I don't think it fits him. It doesn't fit his skill set. You can't make a guy play a certain way. That doesn't work. It's like I see this all the time in high school sports, right? I played and I saw this and played. Well, the coach tries to do it. It's all one way, very robotic. You have to play my way or the highway, and just do what I'd say. And if you try to do anything that fits, your skill set, it's all bad. Those coaches never win. Those teams don't succeed long term. They may get a little success here and there, but that's not winning formula. Great coaches, great leaders, great and just people in general adapt to the people around them. They adapt and they fit around their skill set. Great coaches. That's not going on. And I don't know if that's going to happen because what I saw last night was the same route trees, the same concepts, the same everything we ran when Baker Mayfield was here. Everything. And it was all just heavy reliance on the run game and Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb made a lot of people look really good. So we're going to find out what a lot of people really made of now that he's gone. And I hope you people appreciated him when he was here. So that's my take. Again, that's how I see it. That's just my opinion. I'm now going to cut in to the next part now. When I bring Mike on and Schnooks, my father, and get their take on it. And so, yeah, I'll see you guys on the other side later. Mike, welcome back.
Hello.
Again today. Mike, I guess I'll start with you. What's your reaction to the game and my hot take?
Not gonna lie to you, I'm a little bit in disagreement. I think Stefanski worked, and him, Alex Van Pelt, and Bubba Ventrone all worked to tailor this offense to Deshaun. And you saw him even last week against the Bengals, changing the play at the line of scrimmage, like he called into that one touchdown against the Bengals. He was doing it against the Steelers, maybe not as well because of the crowd noise, but what have you. I'm going to put that game pretty much all on Deshaun, and maybe a little bit of just like carelessness on the offense. You can't, it doesn't matter how good the play calls are. It doesn't matter how good your defense is playing. If you cough the ball up 4 times, 80% of those football games. And that's exactly what he did. Yeah, I know. I've been dropping in and out. Even when I was in backstage, I was. So I think it's just a connection thing.
Oh, all right. You're good. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. You there?
This a little bit better?
Yeah, there we go. All right, you're good now.
All right. Yeah, but my biggest thing is like definitely the takeaways. You had some costly penalties. I mean, I knew Dewan was good for at least one. Just because of, he's a rookie, his first rookie start, rookie tackle. I mean, you're going to have a holding call. Ethan Pocic had a holding call, and I don't think it was said enough. Like that interior O-line was getting beat all night. Wyatt Teller was struggling with Larry Ogunjobi. Like, I don't even think TJ Watt wrecked the game. Larry Ogunjobi had a much, much bigger impact for the Steelers. Because we were giving help to Dewan most of the night. David Njoku was chipping. They were putting the run protection over there. I mean, the defense played great. And even at times, we had, I think, almost 500 yards of total offense as opposed to the Steelers' 270 yards. The Steelers had -7 offensive yards net, and we still lost the game. And that's on takeaways. That's on the offense. Even if, I get your point about the play call. I don't think it was a great play call the first play, but you're just trying to get Deshaun into a rhythm, throw a little stick to go for 6 or 7 yards. I get it, but like Harrison Bryant's got to catch that ball. Like,
I agree, but my whole point is Kevin Stefanski plays a lot of checkers and not chess. That's a problem. He'd be a great chess player. And I'm not giving Lawyer Watson gets no excuse last night. He was awful. He was probably the worst player on offense, to be honest with you. Not good at all. Maybe outside of Donkey Jones. But when your quarterback's playing not great and your quarterback's coming off and not played in 2 years, from an 8-game sample, he hasn't helped them out a lot. I don't think. He hasn't helped them out a lot. Like, doesn't mean your quarterback's not playing like shit still or like crap. But a lot of times, great coaching will, like you saw it at Ohio State last Saturday. Kyle McCord has been kind of mid, but Ryan Day's play calling is covering up a lot of things, helping them out, making them look better. We're not seeing that.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I mean, like, But I still think Kevin overall actually called a decent game. I mean, he called a lot of tight end screens. He called some orbital screens that Deshaun didn't throw. Like he called an orbital screen that was completely open on the right side, and he starts running to the left, and he runs directly into two Steelers defenders. I don't know if you remember the exact play. It was an orbital screen,
I kind of remember.
and it would have gone for 20 yards. Like he was calling things to help Deshaun out, and he always had an open check down man that he had. He was running quick post, check routes that David would chip, and then he'd run a little curl up the seam, and he was could be open for 4 or 5 yards. Same thing, he did that with Jerome Ford and Pierre Strong.
I mean, I get it. I just
wasn't throwing that.
Looking for the big play.
He wasn't, but I don't think it was helping him out though to really throw force to this a lot of time. I mean, there's some throws he missed, point blank missed. He was not, like I said, he wasn't good at all. But some of that stuff though, like the play calls in the first drive after the pick when they came back out on the field right away, and basically the first drive of the game, just a lot of long developing routes. I looked at my dad and I was just like he's just sitting there waiting to throw. They're trying to throw these long, 15, 20 yard long developing routes. There's only 3 guys out there running, no check down. I mean, Nick Chubb is the only good thing that happened in that game before he went down because he was just lights out, nobody could tackle him. But if we didn't have Nick Chubb in that first quarter, I mean, we probably wouldn't have scored 22 points last night. Well, bring Schnucks in now.
Yeah, I mean, if we don't turn the ball over at all, we win the game.
Oh, yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, we still win the game because Pittsburgh's that bad of a team, and Pittsburgh's that bad of an offensive team. They're terrible offensively. They might be the worst offensive team in the league. But Schnucks, I'll bring you in now. What was your reaction to my take and just your take overall on the game last night?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think I told you during that game that injury was, if you saw Stefanski's face when it happened, they knew it. Everyone knew it. You could hear him moaning through the TV. They knew it. And I think it just kind of sucked the wind out of everybody. And when I say they knew it, they knew the significance of it. And I believe he's done. I don't think at 27 years old, you've been a running back all these years, the wear and tear on your body. I just think they knew it. And I think it just sucked the wind out of them and probably killed their focus. And that before that happened, they were really starting to get some momentum with Chubb. I mean, they were starting to settle down. They were starting to flow. And so I think that kind of just punched them right in the mouth. And nobody adjusted well to it. But that goes back to coaching. I mean, players have to execute, but coaches have to get them refocused, and they got to do things to put the players in the right positions. Here, Watson, I don't think he did. I don't think he played good, but I don't think he played terrible. I mean, he made some pretty good plays, but he also did some really odd things. The 2 face mask. He seemed really out of character. It seemed like he really lost his poise. That's what there was no poise last night in him, and it showed. And I think he almost looked like a deer in headlights when it happened to Chubb. Just his face, he looked like he was stunned. So, but I agree with you on Stefanski. I'm sitting there watching a game, and we hadn't had a conversation about it. But as I'm sitting there, I'm like, this offense is just stagnant. It just doesn't move. And you have to do things to keep the defense off balance. It just became too easy for the Steelers.
There was no creative concept at all.
Right. I mean, you're not putting any pressure on the secondary, so the front line of defense can just tee off.
You said something there too, not to cut you off. He said, kind of goes to my point. You look like a deer in the headlights when Chubb went down. I wonder why you look like a deer in the headlights.
Well, yeah, because here everything goes through Chubb.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think the offense is built around him. I think the offense is built around Chubb. And as when you were saying that, Mike, I was sitting there thinking to myself, no, it's not tailored around Deshaun Watson because they're running the same offense they was before Watson got there.
I saw
And-
the same routes last night. I saw Baker Mayfield trying to throw to for 3 years.
It's the same bullshit, and
Same shit.
it puts no pressure on the defense. So the defense can just have their way, and it's a defense like the Steelers. I mean, yeah, the offense is horrible, but they always have a pretty decent defense. So it just became easy for them. You heard after the game what T.J. Watt said. He goes, when the play where they got around Wills and they came in and stripped the ball, he called the play. He goes, we knew they were going to run this play. I mean, it's just that offense is just
very basic.
I'm with you. There's too much. It's just too much. Here, it all goes back to coaching. Look what happened to the defense with a new coach. It all goes back to coaching and putting players. You have to take people and put them in the right spot. You know what I mean? You just can't take a guy and put him in any spot. So you got to know what to do with the type of players you have. And I just don't think he does that. You know, we're in the same boat we were when he started. You know, you've got all this talent on the offense, and it just sputters. It just
I don't
sputters.
know if I'm ready to put the white flag in week 2. You know what I mean?
I'm not throwing the white. I'm not throwing the white flag. What I'm saying is adjustments need to be made. They went in there.
Right.
They're too talented to lose that game. They're too talented. The Steelers' offense is horrible. Yeah, and it comes down to those 2 turnovers. But they're here. That's cool. Get these guys focused. You know what I mean? Get these guys focused. It all goes back to coaching. And yeah, I'm with you. That first play of the game, what the hell is that? That's your first play? And I'm with you, Joseph. The play, in particular, quarterback play, is trash anymore. Nobody throws the ball down the field. It's all these bubble screens. And Mike, you said screen, screen, screen. That's all they threw, screens. That's all that's thrown anymore.
That's what he should have been throwing. Because that's all that's there.
Yeah, and guess what?
It's easy.
It's easy for the defense to prepare for. You gotta be able to throw the ball downfield. You got to spread these guys out. Because if you're dissecting their secondary, they can't keep rushing you like that. So it's just
no, and you can't bring in Marquise Goodwin off the sideline, ice cold, and then call the deep route right there. We know why he's in there to run the deep route. But you haven't played him all game. You didn't put him out there for a couple of run plays, make it look. You know what I mean? You didn't get creative and try to hide the scheme. No, let's throw him out there. We know what he's going to do. He's going to run deep. It's so predictable.
This is, and it's not just here. Like you said, it's just not Cleveland. It's a widespread problem. The NFL is it's just not about football anymore. Anyone who sits there, gets up here and tries to say it's about football is out of their damn mind. It is so blatant what the sport's about now. It's just not about football anymore. And that's why the qualities went to garbage.
No,
I mean, guys are getting hired for the wrong reason. Guys are getting paid for the wrong reason. It's not on a merit system. It's not based on your production.
They're trying to appease the non-football fans.
And here,
people who don't really like football, and it's the product that it's showing in the product on the field.
It's just these guys. You just don't see quarterback play like you saw back in even 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Guys throwing a ball 20, 30 yards down the field constantly, and I don't know. It's. I'm not waving a flag, but they got punched in the mouth, and I get it. I mean, that guy. I mean, it's not just you don't want to see any guy go down, but my gosh, man, it's Nick Chubb. He's the leader of the team, and I can't say I wouldn't have been screwed up from it. So I think if here. They were rattled by it, and I get it, and they just never recovered from it. And I think that's probably what they didn't sharpen up through the game, and it just led to even more turnovers. So, but ultimately, down those 2 turnovers, those 2, you got a pick 6 and you got a fumble for a touchdown.
Oh, I get it, and I get the 2 turnovers. And I'm not saying Kevin Stefanski going to get fired. But the way, again, I'm going off 8 games of evidence with Deshaun Watson. Going off 2 seasons, the 2 seasons before. He's been here for how many years now, Mike? 4. This is year 4 with Kevin.
Yeah.
So I'm going off 3 years of evidence, and then go back to Minnesota as well. We have evidence on Kevin Stefanski. He's got to readjust
Right.
Deshaun Watson. And when you see articles like this today saying how long until the Browns can get out of Deshaun's contract, how about they can't? You're not going to get out of Deshaun's contract. So how are you going to make Deshaun work before you go out and say stuff like this? Nobody's. So Kevin Stefanski just called it an amazing game. He just called it. It's always been great, flawless. But because we don't like Deshaun, how can we get out of the contract? Well, you're not getting out of the contract. Sorry. That's why the Arizona Cardinals are getting out of Kyler Murray's contract. That's why a lot of these things, the Ravens, the Bengals, all these players that are under this contract, these massive contracts, they're not getting out of them. So how are you going to make it work with your quarterback? That's what Kevin Stefanski has to do. He can't keep doing what he's been doing. It's not going to work. They don't mesh.
Well, I would say this. Why didn't that guy write that article about Joe Burrow on last week? Why does he write every week about Lamar Jackson? I mean, who's
been bad.
Yeah, but I'm saying you give me a quarterback that's just lights out every week.
Yeah.
What?
None
So
of them are in the league anymore, really.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Across the board.
That's what I'm saying. And so here, the $250 million quarterback doesn't go. The coach goes. The guy's too talented, and he's still good enough. They're just not. I'm with you. It's the wrong fit. It's just the wrong fit.
And a lot of that's on him too. He's got to. I mean, he signed up for this, so he don't get a pass at all. And
no, hell no.
He put himself in this. Deshaun Watson put himself in this whole thing the last 3 years, anyways. He put himself in the predicament. So, which we all agree on, but as a head coach, you got to, when your guys come off the street like that, and that's why I played my clip for my show last year for after that game, because I said the same thing last year. You're not helping the guy out. It's too inconsistent. It looks a little too dysfunctional with the identity on offense. They don't look like they have a passing identity. Your whole identity was one player. Well, guess what? That player's gone now, and he's probably not coming back for a while. So, what are you going to do?
That was it. That was our identity. Was Nick Chubb, and they've had no identity, and that's a Stefanski thing.
And the reason why I brought up the Week 8 thing, I'll turn back to you, Mike, because we know they have them. They'll pull the trigger at times, and if it starts getting real ugly here, if they don't turn us around, at least try to salvage some one of these wins for Week 8. It starts getting real ugly, Mike. They might pull the trigger. And here, Jim Schwartz has looked pretty damn good so far this year, and he has head coach experience. I think he will. And I think the defense will remain that pretty good. What do you guys think? If it goes south, I'm just throwing a hypothetical here. Do you think if it goes south by Week 8, you think they put Schwartz in as the interim head coach and just see what he can do and Campbell's the play caller? I'll start with you guys.
I'm not putting that out. I'm not even gonna respond to that.
Is that what, Mike?
I said I'm not putting that out into the universe. I'm not even going to respond to the question.
They do.
Hypothetically, though, Mike, you think the Hausens could pull the trigger if it kept going south?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I get you.
I don't like it. Go ahead, Mike.
No, I was just going to say I don't like to be, I'm of the mindset where it's like, you're getting pressured. Nick Chubb got hurt. Turn the ball over. Ugly game. Fucking flush it. Every team has one of those flushable games. Well, you have 2 home games, another division game in 2 weeks. You got Tennessee coming in, AFC opponent. Go 2-0. Yeah, go 2-0. Get the tape on what you're doing well, what you need to work up on, and then go into the bye 3-1, 2-1 in the division. And then you still got your home game against the Steelers, and they haven't beaten us here in a while. Right. So, fucking shore it up.
I think that's a very fair take. I agree with you. It's just,
you
understand what I'm saying, though, Mike. From a football standpoint and from the evidence of the past, you got to go off of what Deshaun Watson has shown to our career, what Kevin Stefanski shown to our career, and the 8-game sample size we have. Kind of just what we saw Stefanski with Baker and Kobe in those years, I just see Kevin kind of doing it his way in his offense, and then Deshaun's just trying to fit into it. And I don't think it meshes well. I don't think his skill set.
Well, I mean, they asked Deshaun, so it's on Deshaun. Deshaun put a lot of his own plays in. It's not, how
do we really know?
It's not the same system. They were running a lot of pistol. They've been running a lot of RPO. He never ran that shit with Baker, and he only implemented a little bit with Jacoby just to kind of like get the offense used to it. Like, he never ran pistol.
But most of the play calling, though, was the same. It was the empty set, 10 personnel. We only see a little creativity here and there. We don't really like. Where's the Elijah Moore package we were hearing about all last season? Oh, we haven't. Have you seen a lot of Elijah Moore, Dad?
No.
No. I don't see it. I don't see a lot of it's the same. Like, here's where the head coach doesn't help out his quarterback. Doesn't help out the quarterback. Doesn't help out the team. You're getting killed in 10 personnel with P.J. Watt. He's over. He starts heating up. Alex Highsmith's starting to heat up. They keep calling the same set. They keep calling the same stuff over and over and over in the same personnel group. And it's just not. It doesn't work. It's like sitting there trying to like beat a. You know what I mean? It's like they're not. It's not working. You have to. There's no like. I don't see the adjustments ever. The adjustments, creativity, the wrinkles. Like, you know, the only wrinkle I saw last. Remember the third down play coming out of the coming into the fourth quarter. Remember when before that play, Dad? I looked at you. Remember Elijah Moore? What did he say to Deshaun Watson? He read his lips on the TV. He said, "Look."
Oh yeah, the guy right there on the sideline.
Here's the thing. They just got done talking to the coaches. Homeboy walks out on the field and says, "Just find me." I've been in many huddles before. You know what that is? Forget about what he just drew up. Just find me. And what
Right.
he do? He went and found him, and it worked. So that's
Right.
It's little things like that you see. Deshaun in the beginning of the game, that first drive, was one of those long developing plays where he got sacked on. And he immediately looked over. They put the camera on him all night. Go back and rewatch the game. And he immediately looked at the sideline, went like this. Like, he read it and he said, "That's not going to work. That's not. It's taking too long to develop these plays, and they're too basic." I mean, like, that's what it. And he played like shit. Obviously, he didn't help himself. And like, I agree with you. He looked very rattled and not poised. Very like, you know, getting in a fight on the sideline with Pittsburgh. You know, and I guess he like shoved the referee, and they're not. But like,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, what are you doing?
Quarterbacks here. Joe Montana, poise. Tom Brady, poise. Quarterbacks have to have poise. He lost all his poise last night.
But you said it,
He was a very emotional.
When Nick Chubb went out of the game, there was a lot of panic on that. You just see panic off the faces. And Stefanski at the podium after the game. What did you think of when we watched the team? What did you say to me?
You talking to me?
Yeah, remember when you said it to me? What did you?
I
say
said
to me?
I have never seen him. I never saw Stefanski so distraught after a game. Even after losses, he always seems cool, collective. He seemed very bothered, very stressed, very distraught. I mean, I think it was he knows the outcome of this injury. But it's probably also he's under the gun now. I mean, the quarterback doesn't. You're not getting rid of the player. You know what I mean? It's the coach can get replaced. I'm not saying he needs to be replaced right now, but they just seem a little predictable. I just feel like I don't care. I mean, you put Patrick Mahomes in there, stifled.
If Deshaun Watson was in Andy Reid's offense right now, how do you think he'd look?
Oh, it'd be completely different. Be completely here's the thing I was just thinking. Watch Baker Mayfield in this offense. In the offense he's in now. Let's see how he pans out. I'm not saying he's going to be some Pro Bowl or anything, but
he's played solid.
He's 2-0. He had a good week.
Not world beater, but he's been playing good.
In that offense, let's just see. So I don't know. I'm not very pleased with that offense. It's very
generic.
Yeah, it's just very predictable. I think it's easy for the defenses.
And Nick
And you
Chubb
got
is so
you don't
great of
get
a
you don't get
player.
everybody involved either.
No, and Nick Chubb is just so electric and so great of a player. I mean, breaking that. Man, before he got hurt last night, he was playing probably the best game you've ever seen him play. He was like,
He was.
he
He
was
really was.
unbelievable. Man, he's so underappreciated. Man, it's sad what happened to him. I don't know. But, he covers up a lot of things because he the way he even plays, breaking tackles, he makes things that look bad make it look better. He makes everything look better.
All right.
Even in
Covers
the
up all the deficiencies.
Yeah, and so we'll go there, Michael K. Kavik. I know you've been on it all day. What do you think happens now at the running back position, Mike? What are you hearing? What do you think they'll do there at the running back position?
Well, Kevin said today that Andrew's working on adding another back. So I don't know where they're thinking. I don't know if they're thinking of just adding another back to be RB2 behind Jerome, or if they're thinking of, hey, we need to add an RB1. I really don't know.
The options available. I know there's Jonathan Taylor's been out there, Kareem Hunt. I've heard Cam Akers. What do you think? What do you think they'll kind of lean towards, Mike? They got to bring in somebody. I don't know if you can just rely. You can't rely on.
No, they even said they're going to be bringing in somebody. I mean, the Colts already said they want a king's ransom for Jonathan Taylor, and I don't know if they really think that that's an absolute must. I really, that's a hard question because I don't know. I mean, if there's a reasonable trade for Jonathan Taylor, but then you got to pay him, and then if you pay him when Nick Chubb does, and if he does come back, what do you do there? Right. There's a lot of moving parts there that are really complicated. I don't know if they just want to bring Kareem Hunt back maybe on a 1 year or 2 year deal, or I don't know if that bridge is burned.
Go ahead.
I just said there's so many moving parts that it's really interesting.
Who's the guy on the Jets bench? Carter. What's his name?
Michael
Williams?
Carter.
I've heard his name brought up as well. Michael Carter Williams. I will go with Kareem Hunt personally. I wouldn't give up the draft capital for Jonathan Taylor. Number one, I don't think you need obviously we have a Nick Chubb, obviously that's a benefit, but I don't think you need to give up the farm for running back nowadays in the NFL, especially when you're supposed to have the quarterback. So I wouldn't do that. Plus, you never know. Who knows? Nick Chubb. I wouldn't doubt Nick Chubb in anything. So he could come back and still be maybe not the same as Foley, but still be an effective player. But I think Kareem Hunt. I know he didn't. I think he failed the physical, allegedly. The rumors saying.
Yeah, with the Colts, he failed.
So he is kind of breaking down a little bit. Sounds like I know the doctor on the Coach JB show today said too, he's not pretty clean up. He's still cooked a little, but Kareem knows the offense. Kareem knows the system. He knows the personnel. Kareem brings an energy and a swagger. I think they can use on offense right now, just the personality alone. And I think Jerome, if you have Jerome and Kareem, and that's a 2 running back committee, I think that's still good enough. I think what Jerome Ford showed last night was actually pretty impressive. The way he
Jerome Ford looks good.
As the game went on, he really started to heat up, and he's pretty damn good. I mean, I watched him all 4 years in Cincinnati when he was down there. My buddy was my best friend was coaching on the team, and he's a pretty damn good player. I mean, he was a big reason why they made the playoffs that year because he was their only offensive. He drove that offense in Cincinnati, really. You saw it last night on the speed too. He has. I think him and Kareem. I think Kareem also, like I said, his energy. He just knows the system. I think Kareem still has a little tread in there. He can break out a couple games and help you in the red zone because he's just a hard-nosed runner. Yeah, what do you think? I think you're leaning probably more than Kareem for me.
Yeah, I said that last night. Here, number one, they can't trade for a guy like Jonathan Taylor. They spent too much on Watson, which I'm not saying they shouldn't have done. I mean, they had that chance to get a good quarterback in, and they had to do it. But no, even if you have the assets, I don't think you do it. I read before I came on here, they already said Jerome Ford will be the number 1 tailback the rest of the year. So I would think You need a
Creed's
stopgap.
number 2 role before.
You just what's that?
I said Creed's been in that number 2 role before.
Yeah, you need a stopgap right now, and I mean they still look good. You know, after with what you guys were saying that with Jerome Ford, but you need a stopgap guy. You need an energy guy. You need he knows the system. The fans love him. He loves the city. He runs hard. He's great for that division. So, and you can probably get him for a bargain. I mean, for nothing. So,
Yeah.
that's what I would do.
I think too, like if I'm going to trade again for any offensive piece, it's going to be for a receiver. That's something.
For a receiver.
Yeah, I think the receiver maybe could use maybe another weapon because I don't think Peoples Jones is. Peoples Jones. I don't think he's starting right now. To be honest with you,
No, he looked.
he's just not.
That guy couldn't even field a kickoff last night. He just looked.
He looked lost out there.
Yeah, he was. That was.
Him on special teams is another reason. Like we kept getting pinned. Like on.
Yeah,
on, like,
you're right.
Yeah.
Like,
That's another reason we lost. We had terrible field position all night.
Yeah, he's just not, and he's not a great receiver. He can't create separation consistently. You saw that last night. He's just every now and then make a great play. You know, maybe an acrobatic catch, or get open on the wherever the concept. Basically open play action play. But he's just not. I thought David Bell actually played decent last night. He blocked pretty well on the perimeter. Made a couple of nice catches. I mean, you get more playing time out of him. Put Cedric Tillman out there. He's your 3rd round pick. Let's see what he's got. But I do think maybe another receiver could be needed down the road because Marquise Goodwin, they're kind of using him more as a specialist right now, and it's very predictable when they put him out there. I think they might need somebody else in there, maybe a more proven veteran. Maybe they can get on the market down. Maybe I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how the season unfolds. What names come up, but we'll try to put out some positives last night. That'd be all night. Like I said, Mike, I think David Bell played pretty well. What are some other players maybe that you think? I thought Denzel Ward played one of his better games he played in a long time last night.
Defense played great.
Defense was awesome.
Mike, what are some positives you think they can carry on going forward? What players that maybe stood out or just think?
Obviously the defense, and I think with offensively, I mean, there were some good catches in there. The O-line needs to shape up because O-line can't play like that again.
That's another. Go ahead. You can remind me of my other take I want to hit on today. Unless you want to go there.
But no, I mean, I'm of the mind of just flush this game and go 2-0 at home if you can. Go into the bye 3-1. You're feeling good. You're 2-1 in the division. You're 3-1 in the AFC. And then with the bye, you can get rest and kind of reevaluate and focus on trades. That's where my brain's at. My brain's on to Tennessee. That's where I'm at. I'm probably where the team is now.
I think too, though, when you talk about the offensive identity and helping out the quarterback, just really the offense flowing, left tackle might be a big problem. Jed Wills, very inconsistent, which we said this going into the season. We said he was average. He hasn't looked average so far this year. He's looked very bad. He just looks kind of lazy at times. When he gets beat, he just gives up on the play. He was the guy that gave up the play last night. When was it Highsmith, Mike? Yeah, Highsmith went around and stripped the ball. T.J. Watt is pretty much a game-winning play for Pittsburgh. Because I think if we punt there, we probably still win the game. How bad Pittsburgh's offense is, but and how bad we look offensively. But anyway, Jed Wills is a problem. He oversteps like crazy. His balance isn't. He's just a lot of fundamental error with him. But he gives up on plays. So he just kind of looks when he's playing bad. His body language just says it's bad. And he was still on the bench after the game, with his head down. He probably knew he didn't play well at all. But his inconsistency is also another problem because that's your blind side. You got a left field support position on the offensive line, one of the support positions in the whole sport. So that's my other concern is Jed Wills. I don't know what you guys think on that. That's the problem there. Actually, that DeJuan Jones, the rookie in that game against that kind of player, a future Hall of Famer Watt, I actually thought he did pretty good.
Yeah, he did.
I thought he held up just fine for a rookie.
He's a mountain.
What do you
Yeah,
guys
I mean,
think about left tackle? I mean,
I hear that dude. He just doesn't. I'm with you on that. He just seems lethargic out there. He's always injured. He's always fucking laying on the ground. He does. He just doesn't. I don't know. He just doesn't seem like he gives 100% on every play. So, I mean, I don't expect these guys to be, perfect. But when you're playing left tackle, you got to be almost perfect. You know what I mean? You're protecting that quarterback. So he just doesn't. He even looks odd. He just doesn't even look like a left tackle.
No, he played right tackle in college.
Yeah. I mean, is it just an unnatural fit for him?
It might be. Now, his rookie year, he was okay. I think he had a pretty good year his rookie year, but I think the ankle injury he had his second year, sitting out that time, he probably held back his development a little bit, but he just doesn't. The consistency is just not there. It was what, like year 4 now for him?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's year 4 now. Like, we know who you are now. Like,
Yeah, he's a middle of the road tackle. I mean, we know that's what he is. That's what he's going to be. He's the 15th best tackle in the league, perennially. Goddamn, I can't say that word. But yeah, I mean, Jed's going to be Jed. Like, I get people don't like his body language out there. He's always going to be like that. But he's all right. He's not great. He's not bad. He's all right.
All it takes is just sometimes you let one guy go, it costs you a game like that, or somebody, something bad happens like that.
I don't believe your left tackle can just be all right.
No.
If you're going to allocate X amount of money to your offensive
system either.
What's that?
Not in a basic system either.
Yeah, you that's got to be one of your highest payouts. I mean, you got to that guy has to be, your left tackle and your center's got to be on point too. But that left tackle that's why it's a premium position. It's like a defensive end, or I mean, it just can't be an all right guy. It just can't be in this league.
We got spoiled for 10 years, or how many years it was with Joe Thomas. We got spoiled. I mean, we saw the elite of elite level left tackle play for all those years with Joe Thomas. We kind of forgot how important it is, I think, as a fan base, because we didn't have to worry about him so long.
I mean, here I get you draft a guy, take a chance on him. Played at Alabama, but just like you said, 4 years in, it might be. I mean, how much longer are you going to keep him? I mean, what's in their mind? What do they think about it? I already think. What's that?
Realistically, this year and next season, because we picked up his 5th year.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's time to start thinking about moving on from him. But
yeah, no, I agree.
I mean, I think there were silver linings last night. They were still competitive. I just don't. You think about how we feel about that injury. Imagine how they feel. You know what I mean? You're down there on the field.
They were in tears after the game talking about it.
Correct. You're right. I mean, this is one of your guys, and he's the guy on the team, and he's one of the utmost. I mean, he's the model athlete, and everyone knows it, and everyone follows this man. And when you see that happen, and you hear him down there moaning, it. But they still fought. They got rattled, but they still had a chance to win. They just turned the ball over, and here Jerome Ford looked great. Defense looked great.
That's what stood out to me, though, is your
special teams was shit, and
there you
go. And the offense just sputtered out. So I mean, but Mike's right here. That field position, that alone, it just put them in such bad predicaments where they couldn't operate.
I mean, yeah, you can't You can't run. I mean, that takes away half your playbook if you're like
Yeah.
backed up.
What's up with Peoples Jones? Is he pouting because he's not getting looks? He's not getting time. You know what I mean? I mean, it was like that dude wasn't even there to play. He just stood there.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm not even being a fan of either team last night. Even if we won, it's still a disappointing loss or a disappointing game.
Yeah. Hopefully the
Yeah,
guys can
that
flush
was
it. You know.
great defense on both sides last night, but horrible, horrendous, and all across the NFL, horrendous offense and quarterback play.
Yeah,
Horrendous.
it is.
Terrible coaching all over the place. We're hiring all these gadget guys now to be head coaches. This is the result you get. This is what happens when you go try to appease people that outside of the game and you're trying to score a bunch of points and trying to get guys in. Oh my gosh, he held Andy Reid coffee for 5 years. Let's hire him. Or
Right.
no, I'm not talking about Bieniemy. Bieniemy's done a hell of a job actually. I'm not talking about Bieniemy. I'm talking about some other people that got head coaching jobs. It's like we get these new trends. We got to hire. Everybody needs the hot boy OC. They got to hire some new head coach, and it's just not working. It's not. And I think it goes back to college too. These quarterbacks not being properly developed in college. They're standing there they're holding signs on the sideline saying, "Do this." They just go out and execute it. They don't know how to. Honestly, they're not being properly developed anymore. These quarterbacks.
Right.
Yeah, the game's just played for all the wrong reasons anymore. I mean, and I mean, it's driven by fantasy. Most of these. I mean, going back to analytics, analytics is just a tool. It should just be a tool in your toolbox
It's
to
not your
help
whole
you.
identity, though.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to. That's why you take a guy like Schwartz. He's a vet. He's been around. You know what I mean? He's just a guy. He just knows talent. He just knows how to put talent in where he knows how to. He knows where to put people. You take a guy like Bill Belichick. How much do you think he gives to analytics?
He uses it as a tool, but it's not his. He knows how to play football. He knows
how to evaluate people, and he can foresee things happen. He can go sit and watch a player and know what the hell he's got. These
gentlemen,
too many of these guys can't do that anymore. The data says this. This is what the data says. You know what I mean? And that's you just can't do that.
No, you have the football aspect to it. And here, a lot of people say we have the analytics dream team here in Cleveland, but you got to get more from football standpoint. Got to get more creative. Got to get more. We'll see what happens. Mike,
I agree.
I'll end with you, Mike, and then we got to get out of here. What are you looking ahead to next week? What do you expect?
I expect the offense. I hope Deshaun just, makes a statement game and, because, I mean, that's a good defensive line too. So hopefully they can just, again, flush tonight or last night. Get back on the horse on a short week. I think the defense is going to be fine, play lights out as usual, and just get a statement game, go to 2-1, get back into the green, and then prepare for Baltimore, and then just get ready for that long bye or that long break. But I think the offense is going to be fine. Like I was, watching Deshaun out, I admit I was a little negative on it because I'm like, I want it to work. God damn it, make it work. But I think we'll be all right. I think there was just a lot of factors. A lot of mess ups, a lot of screw ups, not taking care of the football. Obviously, you have to do that. So I think that's going to be a point of emphasis in practice this week. And, every team has a bad game. And I tell myself, division games are weird. The Chiefs lost to the Lions, for Christ's sakes, and the Lions are so. So, NFL's hard. Not every game's going to be perfect. So hopefully this Sunday is a little bit better. Hey, we're only 5 days away from the next game. My God.
Yeah, quick turnaround. So, Dad, what do you expect this Sunday?
Well, I hope Watson's poise is back. I would think it will be. I think the stadium's going to be, fans are going to be electric there. Here, if the offense is playing well, they're going to win. If you look at last night, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation if Pittsburgh's offense scored 26 points.
Yeah,
we wouldn't Pittsburgh's be this scored
right. We're so
how many points Pittsburgh's offense scored, Mike? Yeah, you're right, Mike. It's 14.
7 points.
Right. So you got two issues here. Everybody's emotional about the Chubb thing because it's everybody's favorite player and it's horrible.
Yeah, I think that's why everybody is taking this loss harder. Yeah, really, we always struggle at Pittsburgh, but if I feel like the overreaction from fans and everybody else wouldn't be so heavy if Nick Chubb didn't have a season-ending, possibly career-ending injury.
Right. So you take that. So you got everyone's emotional, but then when you saw how horrible their offense is, you're like, how the hell do we just lose to this team? Those turnovers. You know what I mean? So, here, ball security. Hey, just have some ball security, and they should win. You know what I mean?
What a win.
They better win. Here's a question: what if they don't win?
If they don't win next week, then that team's got some soul searching to, or not next week, this week. Shit, my God, short weeks are weird. Monday Night Football is weird.
Mike, they better win Sunday night. Or when we come on live Sunday night,
afternoon.
When we all come on Sunday night and they don't win, it's gonna be a rough show for all three of us.
Yeah. I feel good. I think the team will bounce back. I think there's a lot of new moving parts on the offense and everything like that. Hopefully, this is just a learning experience. Deshaun's professional enough. Kevin's professional enough. Deshaun's a good leader. I think they'll bounce back from this. I think they're going to be okay. But
Deshaun will dictate that game. If Deshaun is out there leading, as Mike said, they'll be fine. If he's poised and he's out there leading, they'll be fine. If he's not, they're going to lose.
Well, I think it's going to be a closer game than people think. I think Tennessee's very well coached by Vrabel. They play with an attitude. I think they're going to come in and they think they can steal one now. Especially coming off a win last week at home. I think it's going to be a dogfight game. And I think that, yeah, you're right. Watson can dictate the game, but I want to see – I can't see the same old stuff on offense. It's not going to work. So I want to see a little more creativity at home. I want to see a little more just dynamic play. I need to see more of an offense that can really make possible problems. I want to see some drives put together. Go down a bit.
I want to see more explosiveness.
Yeah, more explosive, more creativity. That's how they have to win now. 24 is not back there anymore. He's not coming back. So you have to adjust right now on the fly. Because like Vrabel's defense, it's not a slosh coach defense either. So you got a test coming up here this Sunday at home. And a lot of fans are pissed off right now. You said the stadium's going to be electric, but I think the stadium could get real quiet real quick if people are already pissed off. And people are upset today. So I'm going to say they barely win, but I think it's going to be tough. I think they got to, because they're trying to figure out right now on the fly, and it's hard to do that. It just happens suddenly. The guy that covered up a lot of things, he's gone now. So we'll see what happens.
All right, gentlemen, go Browns.
All right,
hey, Mike.
Go Browns.
All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in today. Again, I apologize for the audio issue there. Thanks for bearing with me there. But I wanted to leave my dad and Mike's takes on there because we had a good conversation. So I apologize if it was a little muffled there. You probably couldn't hear me at some points a little bit. So make sure it won't happen again. But you heard my take there in the beginning, though. That's why I wanted to go out and re-record that so you can hear where I was coming from. And that's what those two were kind of feeding off of. And they were giving their opinions off of my take and what they saw last night from the game and kind of what we see going from here. Now, there was news before I take off after we recorded that today that Kareem Hunt was visiting with the Browns today. So I do think that's probably leaning towards a sign there, and it will be Kareem Hunt back in the brown and orange, which I think I like that. I think that's a good signing. I think that's a smart signing for right now. And just, yeah. I forgot to share this quote too, and I re-recorded my outro when I put it in my original one I did. It was from Coach JB as well. You know, a lot of what you're seeing right now across the NFL, the quarterback play, just the play in general, man. What we think is good really isn't. Well, a lot of what we're seeing is not very good. It's like JB said, mediocrity is the new excellence. You can play that goes for a lot of things in society right now too. Mediocrity is the new excellence. Man, I'm really sitting marinate on that. And when you watch these NFL games, these quarterback play that's going on right now, the play in general, mediocrity is the new excellence. It's really not as good. Let's hope it gets better. So go Browns, as always. It's tough to be a fan. I know it's last night was tough to watch, but well, hopefully they bounce back this week. We'll see what happens. And yeah, again, thanks for bearing with me today, guys. Sorry about that. And I appreciate for tuning in and watching this far anyways, especially all my loyal day one guys. Love all you guys. And so, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Like, subscribe, share, and all that good stuff. And I'm out of here. Gone.